So last night, as I do, I follow along with any big fight card on CBS Sports, especially the ones that I'm not going to pay for. Roy Jones, Mike Tyson was definitely that, because outside of that fight, which they weren't going for blood, and the Jake Paul, Nate Robinson fight, which I just wasn't going to pay money to see, not something I wanted to watch. So I'm following around, okay. Second round knockout, Jake Paul takes out Nate Robinson. All right, highlights got to be on YouTube. They in fact were. So I'm watching it. Nate Robinson looked like he probably has a good jab. Unfortunately, he just didn't have the reach advantage. So his thinking, I got to get inside. I am a boxer by boxing expert by no means in any sense of the word. I have moved around a little bit back in my younger days. I have trained a little bit, but not an expert. Can't break this thing down like Teddy Atlas. But he was trying to get inside, and so he would throw a jab, and then he would just kind of bum rush in. He would take his back leg and just step through, and they always ended up in a clinch. So after Jake Paul, he's been in there a couple of times. So after he saw that coming, he had the reach. He was just kind of throwing his right hand out there and catching Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson fell a couple of times, and then he ran full speed into a right hand that put him out cold in the second round. I mean, it is what it is. I feel like you've learned nothing more about Jake Paul as a boxer, because that is what he is now. He said he's not a YouTuber, he's a boxer. So, whatever, go to bed, wake up, YouTube, going through. Mac Life has the post-fight press conferences, and the Jake Paul one says that him and Conor McGregor fight's going to happen. Yep, I'm intrigued. I need to see what this guy says about how him and Conor McGregor are going to fight. Like, I'm intrigued now. You got me. Good job, Mac Life, with the title. So I'm watching it. And this guy is now talking about how he has dedicated his whole life to being a professional boxer, yada yada, this and that, which, sure, he might. He may be training his ass off. But do not belittle actual professional boxers, because yes, in the technical sense of the word, Jake Paul, you are a professional boxer. You got licensed as a professional to box. So in the technical sense, adjective, professional, noun, boxer, yes, you were that. But in the real sense of it, like, no, you haven't gone through the grind. You haven't fought a bunch of amateur fights. You fought one. You haven't fought an actual fighter yet. You haven't fought a single fighter yet. You fought a YouTube guy, and then another YouTube guy, and then an NBA guy who's trained for less than a year. And you're calling yourself a big money draw, and it's just, I don't get it. And then he's lining up his fights. He's like, I got a bunch of fights out there. I'm the money fight. More of them are going to come in. It needs to be right. This and that. Oh, I could fight Dylan Dennis. Great. Professional MMA fighter. Awful striker. Great on the ground. If you rolled, he would choke your head. He would choke your head off your body in less than 15 seconds. He'd break your arm. He'd break your leg. Whatever he wanted to do in under 30. That's a fact. Not a great striker. I've seen his Bellator fights. He's a terrible striker. Ben Askren literally wrestled. He might be the worst. He was definitely the worst undefeated fighter of all time in terms of striking. His stand-up was awful. And that is why he got his head kneed off his body by Jorge Masvidal. So that's not an interesting fight. Some Austin McBroom dude. I don't even know who that is. I don't know why he's relevant. I have no idea. And then there was another guy, KSI, who's another professional boxer, but again, hasn't fought any actual fighters. None. Zero actual fighters. So the thing that just drives me nuts about Jake Paul is that he's legit talking, and he's doing it for a purpose. He's smart. He knows that people like myself are just going to get worked up over it and do this, and he's going to get publicity. But, like, you're not a professional boxer. Like, you are in the most basic sense of the word, as in you get licensed professionally, you don't have to wear headgear, but you're not. If you fought a guy, and it didn't even have to be a good professional boxer, it could be a guy who has 5 amateur fights and might be 1-0 professional, he would school you. You would get knocked out very, very quickly, and it would make you look bad. But you're smart enough to realize that, so you won't do that. I think at some point you might, if you train long enough, but right now you're just trying to go for these big name guys, which these guys aren't even, you're not going to generate. You have a better chance of just going back to the YouTube guys, because some of these YouTube social media presences have bigger followings than a Ben Askren, or more people would probably pay money to see it, like young kids would get their money, or their parents to pay money to watch you box them, as opposed to a Ben Askren or a Dylan Dennis or an Austin whoever. I don't even know who that guy is. You and KSI is probably the one if you want to make money, but other than that, I also need to be honest with you. No one would have paid for you to fight Nate Robinson. No one. No one. Zero people. Zero people would have paid to see you fight Nate Robinson. The only reason you got eyeballs is because you fought as the co-main event to Tyson Jones. That's it. That's it. That's it. The only reason. So you're not the biggest money guy in the sport. Hate to break the news. This isn't it's me talking crap. This is a legit thing. This is a spoiler alert. You will never fight Conor McGregor. And if you did, it would be the worst thing that you could ever do because he would knock your head off your body. And I'm going to say less than 22 seconds. Less than 22 seconds. Don't pursue that. Stick to making YouTube videos. Maybe fight that KSI fella because, you know, your YouTube presences will probably generate some buzz on that. But you're not a professional fighter. You're not a professional boxer, a real one. Stop saying you are. It's kind of a kick in the face, kick in the nuts to legit professional boxers. But good win. You beat a former NBA guy, so good job.